It is 9 o'clock. Call the meeting to order. Please stand for the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. This is the regular May 12th, 2026 Commissioners meeting. Are there any additions to the agenda?
Mr. Chairman, Commissioner Wildermuth is absent today. Charlotte Seeger, Personnel Director, is out ill today, so she won't be in. So we'll scratch the 9:20 for that one. At 10:10 a.m., I scratched it out on your agendas, but take that one off. I had it put in with the command at 10 o'clock when I don't need special time for that resolution on the ballot portion. We do that all together at the same time. And that's it. We have other business committee reports and first quarter budget report.
So you're gonna do personnel or there is?
No, I have no personnel there.
Okay.
They didn't give me anything, so
Okay, perfect.
we'll catch up with personnel the next meeting.
Motion to approve the agenda.
So I'll support that.
All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Consent agenda, we have minutes from 4/28, maybe auditors warrant from 5/1 and 5/8. Commissioners warrants of $242,543.54. Capital warrants of $928,123.95. And the April treasurer's report.
Mr. Chair, move through the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Nick?
Morning.
Morning.
All right, pretty light for me today. First up, we'll use some project updates and all the updates are on page 1. Our 2026 seal coats. If you drive by our yard, you will see a mountain of seal coat aggregate that you can stockpiling there, so that's what that's all about. And it'll all disappear in a day and a half, so it goes quick. Next update would be our overlay project. They started in Trotsky. Then they did County Road 17 from Irving to Edgerton up to the bridge where it turns to gravel. They did part of Main Street yesterday, then today they're working on County Road 1 and they should be done by the end of the week, so. Then next update there, your County Road 25 project that is underway. You can drive by that, it looks way different than it did a few weeks ago. So those are some quick updates there. Next up, for me would be, a while back, I know I talked to the road bridge committee, I can't remember if I talked to the full board about it or not, but, railroad approached us. Telling us that if we paid for half of these crossing upgrades around the county, they would pay for the other half, fast track it. I think it was gonna be a couple $100,000 for us, and so I told them no. And then they called a week ago and said that the state's gonna kick in some money or something, state. And said that all they're asking from us now is traffic control, so. I think that that's a good enough deal, like that's
Be a good deal.
yeah. So I don't know, they said signs, but I don't think that would turn into flaggers, but either way, I still think it's a good deal.
It's still good.
Yeah, so, okay, so I'll go ahead and respond to them that we will provide traffic control if they upgrade the crossing, so.
That's similar to the ones they're doing between Holland and Brookton where they just combed it off, closed them basically.
I have no idea what they're gonna do when they say upgrade, not closure, I'm not gonna let them close any of them, but. I think they just come in and put new. What do you call them, those panels that you drive over between the tracks.
I mean, when they have to close it while they're doing it.
Yeah, we'll have to close the road off when they're doing it, so I mean, we'll need to put up road closed barricades and then probably road closed ahead barricades, so. It'll be a little bit of staff time and gas, but.
I mean, that's what they did between Holland and Brookton and they look like they've been closed for a week.
It's the railroad ties, they Would you re-advertise it?
I think so,
Were they,
yeah.
they're by my road too.
Oh, okay,
They haven't worked like that.
sure.
So I think they're just referring to the crossings, like
Yeah.
the slabs on the road. Yeah.
Our little, our township crossing,
Mhm.
and then new ties and then.
Okay. So yeah, I will tell them that we will do that. County Road 56 patch is underway. I was out there before I came in here today. I don't know if we can get them all done in one day, but. See, it kind of depends how it goes, depends how much we have to dig out, don't get material too, but. That's underway, that's nice that we'll finally have that done. Maintenance updates, we've been hauling gravel and crack sealing past month, Nate is back now from his leave. And then, kind of circling back to, this falls a little bit under project updates, but. We ran into some bad base in Edgerton, so, they're only able to pave the center of the road. And they're gonna have to use a different method to pave the outside area, so just so you know, we might have to. Alter our process a little bit there, I don't know if it'll end up costing us extra or not, it might, but that was kind of done. So. Then, same with the County Road 25 project, we ran into some really poor soils in the north end, so we're trying to correct that, so we're gonna have to stick a little extra money into that effort too, but that also needs to be done in order to get the base good. It happens, I'm not upset about it. You don't know until you get done with it. So, other than that, that's it for me. Any questions for me?
I have a couple of it. County 9 where the school dug across it, whose job is that to fix that?
School. Yeah, whoever dug in.
Whoever dug it up.
Yeah, whoever dug it up needs to fix it, yeah.
I see they're replacing some of the curb now, so.
So it's good, they're probably getting close then. I did tell the paving contractor that, like, hey, you're looking to pick up some extra work while you're in town right there, you may want to reach out to him, so. Said he was gonna, okay.
One other thing is my son would like to request a driveway, should I do that privately or me?
Yeah, he can, Nate handles those.
Nate?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he'll give him a permit and he'll work through that with them and, calculate that. Like, might be needs and whatnot, so.
It's on top of the hill, so it shouldn't be.
Oh, good, it'll be a lot cheaper.
Yeah. All right.
Better for site too, so that's how we like them. Yep, Nate runs through those, so not a problem, but if you can't get a hold of Nate, you can call me.
Thank you.
Nick, what road was the bad base in Edgerton?
Main Street.
47,
Main Street?
it's Main Street, yeah. It's just on the edges, or for some reason, they're just. It's like when the mix was gone, we milled off 2 inches or whatever, we were into gravel in spots, so how did we have to build like that? Yeah.
Mr. Chair, Nick, has the city or whoever's involved with that safe approach to school, have they been in contact with you at all about that project?
Yes, they had a pre-construction meeting. Let's see. We're in construction season now, so the days are,
That's,
perception of time gets a little bit off, but I want to say it was last week, maybe.
okay.
Maybe this week before even.
I just noticed that there's all colors, looks like rainbow with all the different colored
Yep.
flags and spray paint all over, so I'm not sure what the plan is going on.
I know they've been marking pavement for pavement removals
Yeah.
for that. Well, I assume that's what it was. That's where the project is and it's Bolton and Mink, so it looks like.
It's-
for that
I don't know how
project.
much it's gonna affect our road there, but it's kind of what I'm curious.
I don't
Will it, but
No, I think they're probably cut a couple feet of the blacktop out so they can get their new curb and gutter in those areas and then they'll patch it back in. So it's under that project. It's not our cost, but yeah.
I was just curious if you do more, I just, like I said, I've seen all the different color spray paints everywhere.
Yeah. Yep, yeah, that's what it's for. I noticed there's a bunch of gas lines marked by us, so I've been transferred the locate process, so. Good.
You see the city cut into County 15, a couple of spots.
Yeah, there's some sewer replacements or repairs or something, I I don't remember what they were, but I think I did 2 permits for that road. In the last couple weeks, so it's. Nobody's seeing that, but I understand it's gonna happen, so.
Anything else? Thank you.
All right, thank you. I'll tell you then.
You know, what's going on there.
First for the budget.
Are you keeping your packet there? Did you? Put your copy of that. By and large, first quarter is doing quite well. The only one that was a little bit out of alignment was county ambulance. They had a lot more expenditures. I noticed that for the first 3 months, their income isn't as high as it has been in years past. I imagine that will readjust itself as we get further through the year here. So they did have quite a bit more expenses in the first 3 months of the year. That's no 280 if you wanted to look at that as nothing down in nothing. They use their grant money to purchase their uniform allowances, which that boosted the cost on that up to
Yeah, like close to 20 or something.
yeah, so 401% over our budget. So, but grant dollars from the state are helping pay for that. So that will take care of itself. So that's really the only major thing I noticed when I went through it. Unless you guys have any questions on anything.
Is it, if you could remind me on the miscellaneous, non-departmental miscellaneous, what did we spend more than 100,000 on? So it was,
003.
yeah.
I don't have the
Great.
I don't have the breakdown report on that. I'll grab we take a break. I'll get that from Mary and bring it back to you.
Sure.
That'll be all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, otherwise everything looked pretty good.
Would you like to see it?
We want to do committee reports. Fill out of it, so that.
Start.
Yeah.
Sure.
April 7th is planning and zoning committee. One of the 3 we've had now on. 4 issue, 14th was regular meeting. 15th was Plum Creek. Meeting in Slayton, that was a full board. April 20th, opioid meeting. Did they send out anything to you guys about where the money's going for this tranche?
Haven't seen it.
I haven't seen anything.
It's probably coming yet, so.
I did, was at least 2 weeks ago, we did get another notice that we'll be getting another $4,700 in change from another pharmaceutical company to
Oh.
go into the fund. So it just shows up every now and then.
We can sure spend it.
Yeah.
We have 440,000 in this tranche and had 700 and some thousand requests. So sure. Had to turn some people down, but. The programs that we started in the first tranche are progressing nicely, getting more LDAC license to do the drug and alcohol counselors, that's. On this one, we're gonna give some scholarships out to people that can't afford to go to school, so. Which is a good use of the money. And then I left, so. That was my month.
Very nice.
Sure.
I did miss my reports for March. Prepare for those, and SRDC full board. They did recognize that, Scott Block did. Get a benefit or whatever, so the next full board meeting, you'll be represented in the township score now. That was on the 12th and the 19th, law liaison meeting. Then on the 30th, extension committee. I also in March to PCMC full board, and for CPT, headed a personnel executive board and the full board. And then in April, 2nd, Friends of the Casey Jones Trail meeting. I did not go to the SRDC annual meeting. They will that down over Boji. I don't know how the state is class and tax rate. They can enjoy the meeting down there. So I skipped that. On the 23rd, the PCMC quality board meeting. And on the 27th, we had a CPT full board meeting again because some change orders. We're doing a full remodel of the building, and so any change orders over $6,000, full board meeting. So they had some issues with the ceiling grids between the new other part of the building that was bought and the original CPT part were different, so they had to requote that. So, but otherwise, everybody's working remotely there while full buildings get.
How long's that construction?
It's not gonna take that long, really, because it's a freestanding building, so just some new walls and everything will go pretty quick. They're adding almost 12 new workstations.
Wow.
But all this space, they're getting full break room and things like that. So, but that's all I have for April. So that's why they're very covered March too.
How big is that building? I think it's big as Brian House.
I don't think so. What's that? It's downtown. Downtown brick building and or it's old early 1900s.
Sure.
That's
Thank you.
April for me, on the 8th. The road and bridge met with City of Pipestone Utility Commission. They wanted to discuss state aid roads funding in the city of Pipestone. 14th, the regular board meeting, 15th, Southwest Health and Human Services, there's nothing to do on there. 23rd, PCMC Quality Committee meeting. 27th, the Rock Pipestone Collaborative, down Laverne. They usually get, that's only a once a year meeting. They didn't really give us details like they did last year on how the money was spent, but it's mostly, it's from the state and it's, for mental health with students. They do meet our assemblies, on the information and if, any students need some help and counseling. But we did raise the per year. There's 4 schools involved: Burn, Hills, Pipestone, and so Pipestone went from 14,000 a year to 15,000 a year, and then Edgerton went from 7,000 a year to 7,500 a year. And they were supposedly going to send us off some details maybe next time on that. 28th regular board meeting, and the PCMC regular board meeting. That.
On April 1st, at Highway 23 Projects Committee, we, the congressionally directed spending in quarters commerce applications area. And on second, at Area 2 in our CRCA, they extended the Redwood River One Watershed Fund Plan grant. So Houston Engineering can finish some software programs to estimate benefits for projects. And then they applied for the 1.1 million grant to new projects on the Redwood watershed. On the sixth, MRC met, Representative Paul Torkelson spoke about IT modernization efforts, possibly creating a fund similar to the reserve fund for ongoing needs. And also mentioned various bills relating to nuclear power study, moving spent fuel from Prairie Island, and inclusion of nuclear power being required as an optional resource in the utilities integrated resource plan. District 8 land use was on the 8th, much discussion on the Nobles County Data Center that ended up being turned down. On the gas plant, the new power line to Becker, the gas plant's by Garvin. They mentioned that, for that gas plant, they need 300,000 yards of sand for construction. And they asked, well, how many yards are on semi load? 20. So that means that they need 15,000 semi loads of sand for that site. That seems like quite a lot of road traffic too. And then talked about various wind and solar projects in the area. And there were some comments about the lower number of new feedlots being constructed. And Bob Kohler, who's just a resident of, he used to work for Extension back, but he's run the District 8 land use for years. And he still counts just as a concerned citizen, but he mentioned that in Murray County, back in 1986, they had 146 dairies, today they have 5. So how things have changed over the years. We had soil and water meeting on the 9th, they discussed using the magic fund more to boost their interest earnings and approve some soil health practices, contracts. On the 10th, at the annual meeting for Highway 23 Coalition, Representative Pete Stauber was gonna be our guest speaker, and he canceled the day before. So we heard from a lobbyist from the National Pavers Group that Jason Denick was familiar with. And actually, he was pretty informative since, he's in Washington all the time. And then I did meet Braxton Seifert, who's running for Gary Dames Minnesota Senate seat. And he's only 21, but apparently he's got the Republican endorsement. He's trying to get that job. Had plan ops on the 13th. AMC board on the 17th. We had a presentation from the local public health association. And they mentioned 1.6 billion in federal grants are available to remove or alleviate hazards in communities. Might be worth exploring if we think of any hazards to alleviate. That's quite a bit of money for you to do. To listen to the AMC Minnesota legislative update on the 20th, went to Pride Melt on the 23rd. First quarter numbers are good, and they're planning some employee educational seminars coming up to get people to try to, use their insurance better. The health pool or whatever, but I mean, their numbers are still looking good. Had the federal AMC update on the 24th, the hospital board on the 28th. And then went to that AMC Nuts and Bolts conference on the 29th through the 1st. On the 29th, we had sessions on like bonding, as far as if you wanted to bond for projects, through Ailers or whoever. They talked kind of about the bonding and congressionally directed spending process. With some people from Minnesota Management and Budget. Had a little session on chair and vice chair roles and how it varies from county to county as far as how they do it. Just kind of some of their procedures. On the 30th, we started out with open meeting updates. Apparently now, if like for committees, on Zoom, you don't have to necessarily say where the people are ahead of time, and it doesn't have to be open to the public at somebody's house. But of course, you have to do roll call votes. You're supposed to have your camera on the whole time. And whoever is on Zoom, there has to be somebody at the main meeting place, at least one person. And you're supposed to reflect in the minutes, not only who was on Zoom, but why they were not attending in person. And that's kind of, you know. I don't know if for convenience would be a good enough reason. Right.
Personal reasons.
Right,
Luke, not to interrupt, but that's how we did that, CBT full board meeting that we had to kind of put together last minute.
mhm,
We had to do it, I had to chair it globally,
right,
but we had to have at least, one commissioner go to more instead of the building there.
Right. one like for MRC, we don't really have a normal meeting place.
Right,
So I suggested, well, why don't you use the Douglas County Boardroom, because that's where we have our annual meeting. And their commissioners usually attend from there, and so that's what they did, and they did that since. And then, Susan Hanson, who's our labor attorney, gave a HR presentation, which was, turned out pretty good. Jack Swanson and Andrew Letson from Meeker, Jack's from Roseau County. They gave a presentation just on good governance. Whatever, just to treat people with respect type thing. A couple of people gave a Health and Human Services budget presentation. They had a presentation on data centers, which of course was pretty interesting, and a lot of course, Gene was telling about the Nobles experience of turning theirs down. Had a guy talking about media relations. And then just kind of a hot topics thing with Julie leading it. And then on Friday, we went to the Capitol and we met the like clerk for the House. And he's been on the job for 48 years. And pretty much has seen it all, and he gave us a rundown on how things were going, you know, in the House at least, and then we went to the Supreme Court area. They were in session, but we had to kind of tour around and see their back rooms and whatnot. And then we went to the church that's across the street from the Senate building, right on the corner of University, I think it is. And we heard from like the people that do, basically that write up the bills and keep track of them for both House and Senate. I can't remember the name of it. And like a registrar or something, but it's basically the person that, you know, has to actually. You know, somebody will say, I want a bill on whatever, and then they have to, they're tasked with writing it up, you know, it's like basically a bunch of attorneys. That their job is just to come up with the proper wording and whatnot, to make it sound good, and of course, they did mention that, you know, the proliferation of the number of bills they have to do. I mean, it's grown from, you know, the low thousands, not that many years ago, to now, you know, 10 to 15,000. And a lot of them are, you know, have no chance of getting approved or whatever, but they're still tasked with having to write it up and, you know, making the process work. This seems like, and then we heard from Senator Weber. Who, you know, just said that I think the reason he and a lot of others are leaving. Is that, well, I mean, obviously, there's always times when you're not gonna agree, but it's gotten to the point where. They're not even respectful anymore, I mean, just common courtesy has gone out the door. And. Where, I mean. They won't even talk to people or, you know, from the other side or almost, if they do, it'll be. Harshly like you see on TV or, yeah. And I think a lot of them just are getting sick of them. Moving on. That's about all I have.
Luke, what did you have between plant ops and the nuts and bolts? I didn't get.
AMC board, AMC state legislative update, prime health. And AMC federal update. In the hospital board.
Thanks.
guess we can recess till Kyle or Nan shows up.
I'll be here at 9:40.
I'll check it, John.
Here we reconvene and Kyle.
Sure. Good morning.
Good morning. I don't have a lot of too much today, but just I wanted to have some general discussion on wellhead protection and feedlots. So I gave you guys a map. This is what we have in the county for wellhead protection. It's quite a large area. The biggest thing I want you to know is that any feedlot expanding more than 500 animal units within this area requires environmental review. So it puts a large burden on feedlot producers that want to expand within that area, puts additional costs of 10 to 30,000 on top of their, construction costs. So, and then MPCA is the regulatory governmental unit for that EAW within the wellhead area too. So we did have that Pacific Cascade feedlot proposed. We later found out that the Pipestone wellhead area had changed to a high priority. So that triggered the environmental review. Therefore, that permit went to MPCA and is now pending that environmental review if that's what happens. So I don't know. We don't have much authority with this at all, but it would be nice, I guess, in some circumstances, if that could be increased, I would think, maybe like to 1,000, but I know it's a sensitive area, so.
Are there many in that area that have numbers like that?
There's several, yes, so there are, so. And the other thing is that Pipestone was previously a low priority, so it changed from going to a low to a high, so it was quite significant.
Have they had issues with cause that or?
They have not exceeded 10 parts per million like the Holland wellhead area has, but they feel with the Sioux site and the ability for the water to travel and the wells being in rock, that there's the potential for water to, to percolate directly into the wells, so. More precautionary, it's a Department of Health thing, so.
Sure.
So no board action, I just wanted to kind of let you know where Pacific Cascade was, give you the maps, let you know what the requirements were. And for you to be aware of it, that it is quite an impact to landowners within that area.
Is there fertilizer limitations in this area also?
There are limitations within those wellheads that have exceeded the 10 parts per million, so the Holland wellhead area exceeded 10 parts per million, therefore they're regulated by MDH or MDA, Minnesota Department of Ag, to develop a nitrogen management plan that will lay out what parameters they're going to minimize nitrogen application to minimize, nitrates in groundwater.
I know somebody that farms in the Edgerton area, wellhead protection. Yeah, they're limited to the amount of fertilizer, nitrogen fertilizer they can put on.
Right, they're gonna possibly limit it to a certain amount based on university recommendations, but also they cannot put on any fall nitrogen. And then there's also talk of inhibitors or other things such as that.
And keep it from moving.
Right. So yes, so those wellheads will have additional limitations on nitrogen applications on commercial. Pipestones, since they did not exceed, they do not have that requirement.
Okay. That might be coming if it gets worse.
It could, yep. Yeah, so there's quite a few restrictions that come along with that being a sensitive area with exceeding the water quality standards.
Well, how long do you think that would take the review process as they pushed it out further? We're talking weeks, months?
For the environmental review?
Reviews from the state.
Several months probably for the minimum. I mean, it would be basically like any environmental review. Depends on how fast your consultant that you hire will, complete the worksheets. But like I said, there's no action for the board. I just wanted to bring it before you and let you make sure that you were aware of what we got out in the country, so. Any other questions or? Our pictometry flight is completed, so the imagery is it's online already, kind of in preliminary state. That'll be getting posted to our GIS site in the near future, so just letting you know that we did get everything flowing this spring early, so that worked out well. So, okay, thanks.
Thank you. The recess again, we go Amanda comes.
Sounds good.
You can reconvene, Amanda. Morning.
Good morning.
All right. So. I have a couple things here, but first we've got a new home abatement application that we have received. We have to have a public hearing on that. Just a little reminder, that was Alan Hackman.
Do you want to have a motion to open the public hearing?
So moved.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
And yeah, so just a reminder, he submitted an application. He's going to be tearing down a current house and garage and building new. So with the home abatement application, they will only receive abatement refund on the difference between the new home and the existing home. So we then prepared the assessors prepared an estimate, and the net of the value is going to be $242,900. So the estimated abatement, the county share on that is $753 annually. Again, that's using current rates. So by the time this is completed and starting to get paid out, it will be at the new rates. But yes, so you should have copies of the application. Have any questions? Let me know.
You must have somewhere to live in between and so.
River and next week.
Public comment. Close the public hearing. I'm sorry. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
I make a motion, we grant the tax statement for Alan Hackman.
Second.
Okay, and that'd be approving the resolution.
Second.
59-20-27.
Okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
All right. And then I also have a resolution for establishing an absentee ballot board, mail ballot board, and you have talked about absentee ballot board. That's resolution 59-22-26. Basically, that is establishing those, and it's you guys giving the authority to me as auditor treasurer to determine that some deputies and election judges that will make up for this.
Chair, make a motion, resolution 59, June 26th.
Or. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.
All right. And the final thing we have here, Jean's joined us too. So Jean had found a parcel that needed an abatement. It was classified incorrectly as non-homestead and should have been homestead. It's for Devin Schultz, parcel 010290400. And don't know if anything you want to say.
Yeah, basically it was an error on our part. With actively farming, you hold the homestead right before to entities. And once they applied, we reinstate it. We just reinstating it, so no one parcel, so. We just want to get that corrected, so when you pay taxes, we can be correct.
I'd move to approve the pledge agreement. No second. One second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
And confirming the amount of the abatement is 2676, is that correct?
That's,
So
yes, that's
the
what he always
abatement. Yeah, that's the difference.
That's different.
Yep, yeah, and then the 2618 will be the new amount going, but yeah, the 2676 is the abatement. Right.
Wonderful.
I will work on getting this done and let him know, we want to quick get that in before tax deadline.
For Friday?
Yeah.
Friday, Friday, you want that straight by the way? Thank you.
That's all I have.
Thank
you.
Must be Charlie.
He's not.
Who's that?
I'm Tim. He's Tim.
Yeah.
He's not Tim.
No.
Good
Good morning.
You have the slides, that's great.
Charlie Bruce set the meeting up for us. So I'm Tim Rogers, Excel Energy.
And I'm Anna Thill, your community relations manager on Excel Energy. Good to see you all this morning. All right, well, we're here to continue the conversation on Power on Midwest. We were here back in October, and then just a couple of weeks ago with the state's scoping meeting. I don't know if any of you had a chance to be there a couple of weeks ago as the state was doing their part for the certificate of need part of the process. But we have new information today. We do have a number of slides before we get to kind of those proposed routes that we have out. And I'll kind of fly through those and then we can get to the questions. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Oh, okay. We have 10 concluded with you. Oh.
Help come back.
Is that,
There's your,
oh, there we go. Perfect.
it'll move yourself forward and backward, above and below that.
Thank you.
You bet. For sure.
As a review, we do have 3 utilities that are participating in this project between Great River Energy, ITC, and Excel Energy. Personally, I think it's great to get to know this extended team now as we're traveling together, doing those open houses. But real quick, the overview is, this is a new transmission system that's being proposed as a way to address the projected demand that we're gonna see over the next couple of decades. And MISO did the research, looking ahead 20 years and seeing that demand that's coming of a 1 to 2% growth compounded over the next 20 years, or a 25% growth over time. And that was without all of the new data centers that are kind of coming and trying to get onto the queue. So we know if any of those come online, that demand will only continue to be larger. So as they projected that, they studied a bunch of possible solutions to meet that demand, and this is the solution they found to be the most cost effective and energy efficient as we move forward. So that's why we're here to talk about this particular transmission line. Project benefits, these are the four that we have continued to share with our partners. I'll go through each one just kind of really quickly, the customer and economic benefits. Here, as far as the customer and economic benefits, this is the solution, as I said, that's meant to be that strong backbone that's going to be there regardless of what the weather is doing and what is kind of thrown our way. It's meant to be a very resilient and reliable transmission system, and that is allowing new technologies to also come onto the system. As you see, you are in the center of the wind tunnel, all the wind energy that we're trying to bring onto the system, the solar energy, new technologies, the battery storage, all of that is meant to be put onto this system to make it, allow us to meet the demands. Economic impact, just real quickly, we did contract with Strategic Economic Research LLC, a third party, to do an economic impact study that kind of studied 4 different areas. I think you can go to the next slide here, Tim. Oh, maybe not. Maybe it wasn't included. But they did look at the jobs created through this project, the labor income then as a result of that, local and state economic activity, and then county and state taxes moving forward. So that report is getting polished right now, and it will be put on the poweronmidwest.com website. So you can study that to your heart's content the next release. Preparing the grid for the growth, I had just shared about that, that demand is coming from the electrification of all things, the demand of the devices that we're all carrying around and adding to our repertoire, and then transportation becoming more electrified, and then also AI and the data centers and the growth of our manufacturing industry, all is kind of compounding to create that demand that's coming. And then access to new generation, as I had mentioned, with our coal plants being decommissioned, our movement to clean energy, we are seeing wind and solar as those primary sources of renewable energy, and the new technologies that are yet to come, and this is going to allow that generation to be put onto the grid. What you see here is the entire long-range transmission plan that MISO has put together. You'll see a bunch of different dotted lines in different colors. Those represent, the dotted lines represent kind of what is being proposed, whether it's a 345 or a 765 kilovolt line. And then the solid lines represent the completed lines that are in commission already. The peach shaded green line is what Power on Midwest represents, and what we're here to talk to you about. The technology, this just represents how efficient this system is meant to be. 765 is right there in the middle, and it represents the amount of power that 6 single circuit 345 lines would otherwise have to be built in order to meet that demand, or 3 double circuit 345 lines. And so that, I mean, you can imagine the cost and the amount of land it would take to build those that much and in line compared to 1 765, and that's why this is the line that's being proposed. And then here, the next, did we go? That's okay. Here, the projected timeline, we're kind of moving right along. Tim is actually going to talk about the 2 different processes, the regulatory processes that we're going through between the certificate of need and the route permits. I apologize, this isn't necessarily following but I got it right here on my paper.
We're off script.
We are on script, no, but that's okay. You can see here, there's a long road ahead of us, right? So we're just at the beginning stages. Thank you.
Welcome.
We're well on our way with the certificate of need process. In fact, that's what the scoping meetings were with the state already a couple of weeks ago. That is the time for public comment on the certificate of need is closing here by the end of the month. I think it's May 20th. And then right alongside that, we're working on the routing piece, and so that's what we're here also to just really focus on today. So Tim, you can take it from here.
Yeah, so, road development, we had our open houses, routes weren't on maps yet. Last time we were here, we just talked about, the study area. But, over the winter, we've, done a lot of the desktop analysis. We're now getting out ground truthing, the various preliminary routes. So, we are now to a point, you'll see later, that we have kind of a spider web or some preliminary 5, 6 routes with connector lines that we want to present at the upcoming open house June 3rd. It'll be in this area, I believe. So this is basically today is that update on the preliminary routes that we're looking at and wanting to take more public comment on. We anticipate another round of open houses, refining these routes even more, maybe taking some off the table. We may have to add some minor alternatives based on what we learned from the public and field reviews. So we anticipate filing that route application with PUC in the first quarter of next year. And then we'll expect a decision by the PUC in mid-late 2028. This describes that process. General study area, MISO directed. We need to connect various substations. And so we took wide swaths on, okay, where are all the possibilities that we could put some routes, and we want to make sure that we capture the appropriate notice area so all the residences can be aware of this process and that this project is coming. We didn't notice population centers greater than 200 people because we would never put the line in those dense communities. So we're now at the point of we're refining these preliminary routes and taking public comment or taking comment on them at our open houses. So June 3rd will be the evening. I'm sorry. Looks like June 2nd, the evening of June 2nd will be in Pipestone. But you can see, 1, 2, 3, 5, and 6 is kind of all in the southwest Minnesota. We'll want a bit of a road show and do our open houses with lots of maps and GIS stations, and our team there to talk with more landowners and community members. The following week, we move more east, another segment of the 765. So we'll be busy for a few weeks in early June. Here's where we're at on all of our segments from Brookings to the Lakefield Junction. There's a segment that goes into Iowa that'll be part of the Minnesota route permit, but it won't be part of this South Dakota border to the Lakefield Junction route permit. That'll be a separate route permit. And from Lakefield Junction to Pleasant Valley will be another route permit in front of the commission. And then Pleasant Valley up to North Rochester will be a third route permit. The certificate of need is being handled all together as one proceeding. Kind of like, remember the CapEx 2020 days where we had that certificate of need filing in front of the commission for all of the various route segments, and then individual dockets for various segments. And that's kind of the model that we're following right now. Chair,
Not just looking at, I'm assuming only one of these routes will be defined.
that's correct.
Okay, just looking at the ones that go through our county. The ones that kind of go through the north and northeast portion of our county. In my opinion, would make the most sense, just because that's where a lot of the wind projects already are located. And it's my understanding that if we had enough transmission capacity, we could double our production with what we currently have. With, because we wouldn't have to shut off. Because we don't have the ability to get it out on a regular basis.
Thank you for that comment. Ann and I are in a meeting later today about a congestion study internally that we're kind of finalizing, and that'll be also available. I believe it's time the application, but it'll be good. We'll have a good understanding of congestion problems and how it affects these projects.
Mr. Chair, I have a question. You still have to apply two different routes to PUC, or you just propose one? Used to be you had to propose two.
Correct, yeah, there's new rules, and now the language says the applicant shall submit one route.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I think so, but there is an opportunity for the public in the scoping of the route to bring in other routes to evaluate. But the initial application is the one route. That's what we're trying to get to by early next year. So
Another question, where is the generating capacity for this line? Does Brookings have extra juice that are moving that way, or?
it's all interconnected. I can't really point to a single generation point. We have generation to the east, to the north, west, and it depends on the day, the season, and the load needs. And where generation is the cheapest at that time. So it moves back and forth, east and west, all over. So I can't really pinpoint a particular generation source. We are connecting the major substations though. All right, we are zooming in a little bit more. So it helps the comment I heard where you're hoping we, some of these routes that are more north, northeast. We're still evaluating. We do, have some, preliminary routes that go west of the Pipestone area. We're doing visual sims right now. We're working with the tribal entities to get their viewpoints on that. So when that's completed and we get input, we might have to add some more routes. But at this time, going into the next open house, these are the routes that we're contemplating. But through the summer, like I said, we will continue to refine and we may see some alternatives come up. A little bit more closer to what you're interested in. It's the shaded areas, is that corridor, and the pink areas are the actual alignments. In South Dakota, we have to go from Pipestone to Brookings. And then from the Brookings substation, move east across to the Minnesota border. We're ahead of the regulatory process in South Dakota. We have to file the application facility permit with the South Dakota Commission by September of this year. So we're further down the road on the route alignments, and you can we kind of know where we're going to head across the border.
I'm guessing the regulatory process in South Dakota is much easier than Minnesota.
It's a challenge, because it adds in that, the county CUP complexity, so we'll need the state commission approval, and we also need county approvals. So that's
In South Dakota.
in South Dakota, yes. So it's different, but it makes us design further and negotiate with landowners more on the front end in South Dakota than in Minnesota.
If I could, Tim, while you have this slide up, the route is online, and so anybody now can start zooming in on any one of these potential routes, and they're encouraged to come to the open houses, zoom in on their property, get a printout, just like when we were doing this for the Minnesota Energy Connection. Folks could go to the open house, zoom in on their property and make comments on that with quite some specificity. And so that is being encouraged as we look at the spaghetti noodles, right? So I just wanted to point that out. You can go in much closer online.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman. Yeah, is this an eminent domain eligible project?
Yes, this is. So we, kind of a last resort,
Negotiate good faith from.
yes,
Last resort is eminent domain.
yes. I think that, appreciated the questions along the way, but if there are more questions, there is a way to, as Anna said, stay up to date, PowerOnMidwest.com website there. We could always have the latest maps, and any new information.
And that's where all these would be, where you can zoom in on them.
Yes, that's correct.
Any other questions? Thank you for your presentation.
We appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hopefully we'll see you in June.
Yeah, that's. Anything else?
Mr. Chairman.
My second, I missed it. All those in favor?
Right. Oh, yes. One of these. And fold the ring.
10:43.
So make sure.
I will set up video. Like, you'll have